Multiple pages of terms of service agreements. Activision, I'm playing a game, not taking out a loan.
The distance gave way to a movement with no connection to the place we call home. A new enemy.
A new enemy who looks pretty much like all the old enemies from Call of Duty games, right down to their Eastern European accents. The bad guys are the Martian settlers. I know this because the game tells me they're bad, and they all sport vaguely Russian accents and a propensity for doing standard evil things like invading Earth. But for all I know, they have very justified reasons for doing so. Perhaps Earth is a tyrant who has been forcing the colonists to mine resources for a starved and desperate Earth, and they're finally fed up with it. Uncertainty like this is why you should develop your villains beyond their facial scars.
The Settlement Defense Front built an army and broke away from the Earth with blood and violence. They aren't revolutionaries. They want absolute power.
You would think potential colonists to Mars would be subjected to some intense psychological, ideological, and background checks before being selected to colonize a world millions of miles away from any authority. Do you secretly harbor authoritarian and genocidal beliefs? No? Okay, you're good.
One of our weapons facilities is under attack by the SDF. We believe this is part of an operation codenamed Raya. Intel suggests their target is a prototype weapon. Your team will extract the prototype and torch the site before SDF can locate it.
The UNSA is sending only 3 people to take back the top secret weapon from the heavily armed and coordinated SDF force? Geez, no wonder Earth is getting its ass kicked. We don't see the face or learn the real name of the soldier we're currently controlling, which in Call of Duty means he will die the one non-heroic death at the hands of the villain. The sun would not be this bright on Europa. At this distance, the sun is quite dim. If Europa was getting this much sunlight, it would be an ocean, not a ball of ice. Also, Europa does not have clouds. You need an atmosphere for that, and Europa's atmosphere is tiny. Also, unless these soldiers have some advanced radiation shielding in their suits, they would be dying from radiation poisoning, since Europa lies within Jupiter's deadly radiation belt. Why was the UNSA developing their new prototype weapon on Europa anyway? The SDF have cut them off from most of the solar system already, according to the narrator, and there doesn't seem to be any reason to develop or test this cannon here. Just develop that stuff on Earth.
Once it's secure, I'll initiate the self-destruct sequence.
Self-destruct sequence cliché. Rather than try to escape with the experimental weapon, why not destroy it and keep the SDF from getting their hands on it? That's pretty normal operating procedure when it comes to keeping your enemy from using your own weapons against you. But it took them a real long time to figure out if they should introduce Kit Harington's character in an icy wasteland.
Catch your breath, Junior.
I'm going to give you oxygen right now so I can monologue to you before killing you. Admiral Koch has a huge facial scar. Somehow I'm not surprised by this detail of his character. I'm going to kill one of my own men just to prove what a bastard I am cliché. Just imagine how the soldier he didn't shoot is feeling. What if he was close with that guy and saw the Admiral kill him for no reason?
You care about your men. Care clouds judgment.
Yeah, we should all make rash decisions based on our gut feelings. Like voting.
Kill me. Save the bullets.
Why lecture this soldier if you were just going to kill him anyway? I know you have to get your mileage out of Kit Harington, but this seems a bit pointless.
Who else knows about this? Right now, Joint Strategic Air Command and you.
But why? Isn't he just a fighter pilot? Why is he being briefed on classified intel?
This is a deliberate act of aggression, Admiral. We should be out there on patrol, not down here throwing confetti.
The rules of engagement prohibit definitive action under these circumstances.
I'm with Reyes. You have video evidence of the SDF committing an act of war against you. If this doesn't, then what circumstances permit you to fight back then? Even if UNSA isn't going to take action against this attack, they could at the very least up their security. They're having Fleet Week right now in Geneva where all the ships are located. Did everyone forget the lesson of Pearl Harbor or something? Also, why even breathe Reyes on this attack if no action is going to be taken? You basically told him some bad news just so he'd get pissed off and fume about it. You would think if they were informing the squad leader about this, some response was in the works that he would be part of.
How many?
4. KIA.
Europa?
You were just told this is classified info known only to the Admiral, you, and higher-ups. You can't go giving the details to your pilot buddy right after you leave the debriefing.
Program for combat?
Thoroughly, ma'am. Born to kill.
Look like you can kick some serious ass.
Well, now you're just making me blush, sir.
Someone programmed Ethan with an entire suite of robot jokes, usually jokes about killing humans. For an experimental robot designed to actually kill people, this was a shocking case of poor judgment.
You familiar with the air intercept systems, Ethan?
Earth's Iron Shield. Major firepower.
These soldiers like to drill themselves on the details of Earth's defense system whenever they fly over it, even though they would be flying over it on a regular basis. Good thing they keep that fresh in their minds though, since it will be important right about now. When the Aegis guns are hacked by the SDF, it first targets a small troop transport instead of the carrier right next to it, which would be a much higher priority target. One shot from this cannon destroys a capital ship, but only moderately damages a small dropship.
Take the prisoner into custody. Petty officer, get that Aegis back up. We still got enemy ships in our airspace.
Right away, Admiral.
So is this Aegis cannon situated only in Geneva? If that's the case, it's a really bad static defense system against planetary invasion, since the SDF could attack anywhere else but here and avoid it.
Michael Aaron Page, Mechanical Engineering Department, 2 years.
SDF sleeper cell.
That's not my name. That is the moniker of an earthling fool.
What is your name?
Commander Akil Minraya of the Settlement Defense Front.
I'm surprised no one figured that something might be up with a guy who had such an American name but spoke with a non-American accent while working in their defense system. Space fighting is very much like World War II dogfighting, up close and with machine guns. If these ships can jump in from what looks to be faster than light speed, why are we still stuck in our own solar system? And don't tell me it's not faster than light, because these ships can travel from Earth to Pluto in seconds, something that takes light over 5 hours to do.
So who has the con, Gator?
As the highest ranking officer on board, I believe you do.
While lieutenant commanders are often second in command on board Navy ships, Reyes is the team leader of a fighter pilot squadron. He would not normally be put in charge of a ship, or at the very least he would only be in charge until a more suited commander could replace the captain after dying.
We are now at war with the settlement defense front.
As opposed to when they attacked and killed our people on Europa. Now the gloves come off.
Lieutenant Salter and I will deploy with you.
This is a ground assault. Captain's place is on the bridge.
Not this, Captain.
This violates everything they would teach you in officer training. If you're not going to stay on the ship and give orders and instead deploy as a Marine, then why even be captain? You are putting the entire crew at risk by putting yourself on the front line. And there's just you and the captain of the Tigress left. If Reyes dies, that's game over. In fact, just what is Reyes' official duty? He's a fighter pilot, but he's also a Marine whenever it calls for it, and he's now a ship captain. What starts out seeming like a cool mission on the moon with moon gravity is completely dashed when they somehow add gravity to the building they're in to make it just like Earth's. This is why the captain should remain on board the ship. You are in immediate danger already. Really? A close-range broadside in space? Do these ships not carry some long-range weapons?
Stratcom decrypted a fleet transmission from Admiral Koch broadcast 6 hours before the attack.
They decrypted a speech Admiral Koch gave before the invasion began that doesn't reveal any important details and only serves to show off the fact that Jon Snow is a villain.
Our world is just beginning. Ned is dying.
Mars is a very, very dead world. No matter what kind of shape Earth is in, Mars is several orders of magnitude worse.
They won't stop until they take our world. This may be our last stand.
No, it really isn't. They attacked one city on Earth and don't seem to have the forces necessary to take the entire planet.
Those are enemy tubs.
Each SDF ship tracks every other in its fleet.
Which is a huge military liability, since capturing this data means the enemy would know the location of every ship in your fleet.
You were a captain, Mac? Why'd you give up your commission?
I committed the mortal sin that can break a commander in two. I cared.
Oh, I see. This game has a leadership thing going on between Koch and Reyes.
Captain on the bridge!
You don't have to say that.
Yeah, she really does. But then again, due to some major ludo-narrative dissidence, no one in this game treats the captain like he's the captain, and the captain himself never acts like a captain.
Saturn's moon Titan. It's home to a critical SDF fueling station.
Are these ships fueled with methane? Because that's what Titan is known for. You can't power a faster-than-light spacecraft with methane or any type of chemical rocket. Once again, I have to point out that a Jovian moon would not be this bright. Titan receives only 0.1% of sunlight in comparison to Earth, due to distance and a very thick atmosphere.
This is Admiral Sailing Koch of the Olympus Mons. All Sato forces are ordered to surrender for immediate execution.
That is not how you get people to surrender. In fact, if killing them is your goal, you can just keep attacking and accomplish that anyways.
Captain Reyes, there is no hope of victory.
How do you know Reyes is the captain of the Retribution? He was just promoted to that position not long ago. Reyes almost dying every time he leaves a ship should be enough grounds to dismiss him for incompetence. Again, with the broadsides. You were not sailboats. Wasn't the Olympus Mons a ship that nearly wiped out the entire UNSA fleet in seconds with its stolen energy cannon? Why doesn't it use that against the Retribution?
We're coming back, Reyes!
He's floating in low orbit in enemy territory and leaking oxygen. Your chances of finding him in time are next to zero, so of course that's exactly what happens.
They had to pry Ethan's arms open. They'd frozen around you.
If the rescue took long enough for Ethan's body to freeze, then Ray should not only be dead from lack of oxygen, but from hypothermia as well.
This is Vesta 3, mining colony. Provides us with all the raw materials we need to rebuild the fleet. Today's shipment never left port.
The asteroid's not where it belongs, sir.
Its orbital path is well off its natural course.
Vesta is a large asteroid in the asteroid belt. For it to have moved off course and be near Mercury would mean a journey that would have taken months, if not years. This happened in like a day.
Mac's clearing him for combat.
Why is Ethan the one not going on this mission? He's a robot. You were the one who was in much worse condition after the Titan mission, yet he's the one who needs time off? This is without a doubt the best mission in the game, with the sun flying overhead and having to avoid its light actually having me pumped. Then you go inside and it turns into a horror game. So I guess you can't have something good in COD without a dash of disappointment.
I don't think these two are getting along so well.
Maybe Ethan was right.
Whenever those things turn, their own security bots turned on them, they can't do that, right?
This shouldn't be that hard to put together. Reyes himself has an armband that can hack robots and control them. It's pretty obvious that the SDF hacked the robots in the mining facility and used them to kill the workers.
Looks like his neck is broken.
It's been a while since I last used a star wipe to mark a jump scare. The streak is over. I didn't think it would be this game that did it though. Reyes cannot have one mission where he isn't nearly killed while getting to his ship.
No, we don't have time! Omar!
Starting here with Omar, every character will attempt to outdo each other when it comes to dying heroically.
I gave you a direct order!
I'm the pilot of this ship. It's my job to make sure that we get back.
And he's the captain, which means you follow his orders to the letter.
What if it were me?
What are you asking me?
Would you have left me out there?
Well, you've already been left behind once since she sent the captain of another ship to rescue you, but I can see you're setting up a character building moment for the finale, so don't let me pointing that out stop you.
Was to incinerate himself along with the Aegis. His implanted transponder would have been destroyed, halting its signal, sending an all-clear to the enemy fleet. Stratcom could only assume an invasion would follow.
Was there any reason why Ray had to keep the transponder in his own body, requiring him to kill himself to destroy it, and send the all-clear so the SDF fleet can invade? There are many ways of sending that same message that don't involve suicide. Damn, Koch recorded this video in both vertical and horizontal resolution just so Rays could watch it properly on 2 different types of monitors.
We were set up on Vesta. They knew the Tigris or Rhett would respond.
It was an ambush.
Wouldn't that mean Koch should have been lying in wait at Vesta to attack whoever showed up for the rescue mission? Instead, he attacked the Tigris, which was nowhere near it.
We should contact Admiral Rains now, Commander.
No. We lure the Olympus to Geneva and take it out.
I'm pretty certain the Admiral would want to know if you put together a plan that lures Koch back to Earth and possibly puts the Earth in danger.
We have access to an SDF transponder. It was planted in the operative who took out the Aegis in Geneva. It was a suicide mission. It would have stopped transmitting when the operative was killed.
We just need SDF to think they are. They'll be caught off guard. Aegis will engage their fleet.
Counter-deception.
Wouldn't Koch likely suspect something was up with the transponder giving an all-clear now, well after the initial attack that went south for them? He would have to assume that Rhea failed and was captured, and that the transponder inside him would be discovered.
I've been informed the Stratcom has approved your initiative in Geneva.
Is Geneva really the most strategic spot for an invasion? I have to assume so, because this makes twice as been important. If it weren't, the SDF could attack anywhere else on Earth and be just fine.
At your behest, the prisoner will be transported to UNSA headquarters. A med team will remove the transponder from the subject.
Let's take the very dangerous man with a transponder in his body from a secure facility where we could remove it to another location where he can be ambushed along the way. If I were transporting a guy that could signal the invasion of Earth, I think it would have a bit more security. He does have a tracking device inside him after all. Hero can only be beaten during a cutscene cliche. How is Rhea hacking the Aegis guns from here? Last time he had to be in the control room. If Rhea could do that from any console, he could have easily accomplished his mission the first time. You know what would be a smart idea? Take that knife and kill Reyes with it before you kill yourself.
Copy. I need Rhett to prep for drop into atmosphere. The shockwave should disable the Olympus so we can board it.
So they didn't need the Aegis guns after all? They can just easily board the Olympus Mons and take out Koch? I'm still wondering how Koch's possible invasion was such a threat. It can be easily countered and only attacked one city. There is no reason to have this array of giant monitors in a quarter rather than to antagonize your enemy when they invade your ship.
Come and get me, Koch. Leave your bridge. Pick up a weapon and fight.
Yeah, be a shitty captain like me and endanger your crew.
We don't fight. We attack.
Those are the exact same thing. Koch survives this. Well, for a time. Everyone else on the bridge was killed instantly by the bot's self-destruct, and Koch was the closest to it when it went off.
Your iron shield is down.
Over one city. There's an entire planet left.
Front is unaware we control the Olympus. We're going to Mars.
Before you get your ass to Mars with the Olympus Mons, you might want to destroy the rest of the enemy ships attacking Geneva. You're getting a bit ahead of yourself.
Ethan, status. Remaining weapon systems are offline, Captain. We don't have enough firepower to destroy the shipyard.
But you could have used the ship as your disguise to get in range of the shipyard before opening fire. They didn't know you were hostile until you fired on their ships. The crews of both the Olympus Mons and the Retribution survived being shot all to hell, crashing into each other, and then crashing into Mars. And both Rays and Salt survived their own crash into Mars, and crash in the same place as the Retribution, saving everyone momentarily so they can have a more personal heroic death later. Press F for fuck if I care. This is Mars, which the SDF rules. How the hell did Ray's crew have time to set up a base camp near the crash, and why haven't the SDF forces converged on the area already? They have to know they're here.
Lift platform to the shipyard is 100 clicks north-northeast.
You're only 100 clicks from the Mars orbital elevator and shipyard, the most important thing to the SDF war effort, and they're not attacking you?
I couldn't ram my own ship. I would have killed them.
That and he had the Olympus Mons to use as the ram. Why ram your own ship when you can use an enemy's? Hell, the plan would have worked had the Retribution not gotten involved and collided with it, knocking the Olympus Mons off course.
There are billions of people back home who don't know what we're doing.
Billions of people at home not knowing what's going on? Yeah, sums up the plot presentation nicely. Gator is on Mars wearing nothing but a face mask. His head and arms exposed to low atmospheric pressure, which would see him pass out and die almost instantly. Luckily, it's his turn to die heroically, so this doesn't matter so much. Fire would not exist on Mars, since it has very little oxygen.
Let me go before it blows. Captain, please. The mission!
Call of Duty is what happens when war and conflict are treated like an Olympic sport. Every soldier is ruggedly handsome, noble to a fault, and willing to die for the cause. I know I catch a lot of flack for not liking Spec Ops: The Line, but I can say that game at least tried to show the actual shitty, unromantic side of war.
You'll never make it back to the ship. If we wait, they'll fire on us.
You're not gonna wait.
I see the conclusion of a character arc coming.
Ethan, why do you need me for this?
Core is electromagnetic. Shock may disable my processor. I'll need your help to stay mobile.
If the electromagnetism in the core could overload your processor and shut you down, Ray's remote control of you would cease, since any machine being controlled remotely would still require its CPU to function. Ethan isn't a puppet on strings after all. Hell, the fact that Rays can remotely control you in a room full of electromagnetic radiation is impressive itself. That would normally mess up any signal.
My self-destruct, sir. The detonation will ignite the core.
Ethan gets in his heroic sacrifice too, but being that he's a robot, wouldn't they have his AI backed up for use in other Ethans?
Fire on my position, Salter!
I can't do that, Nick!
Nora! Finish the mission!
Aww, she came back for Rays. He still dies, of course, but it's the resolution of her character arc that mattered.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.